What in the world is going on in the tutoring industry? Do you wonder how to expand your tutoring business? Are you ready to take your tutoring business online? Are you looking to become a better tutor? Get ready for the Tutor Outreach Radio Show hosted by Dr. Alicia Alice Holland. This globally syndicated radio show is empowering you to move forward with your tutoring goals to manifest your dreams of building a successful tutoring practice. Coming to you live bi-weekly on Blog Talk Radio, this hit show is tailor-made to help tutors and tutor business owners worldwide. Dr. Elise brings her knowledge, experience, and sense of humor to each show while introducing you to guests from all over the world who are experts in the fields of tutoring, coaching, education, and leadership. Call in with your questions or share some of your own experiences in academia. The Tutor Outreach Radio Show starts now. Here is your host, Dr. Elise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tutor Outreach Radio Show. Today, we have a special guest by the name of Jake Adams here with us to discuss what he does along with his tutors at PCH Tutors in the Malibu, California area. But before we get into the show, let me share a little bit about Jake Adams with you. Jake Adams is the owner of PCH Tutors, a private tutoring company that strives to help students in the beach communities surrounding Malibu and Newport. Jake founded PCH Tutors in 2009 and has since then successfully connected hundreds of families to private tutors from Malibu and surrounding beach communities like Santa Monica, the Pacific Palisades, and Calabasas. Jake created PCH Tutors after having been a private tutor for roughly 3 years and coming to a point where he could no longer service the demand for his services and had to start referring customers to his close friends who were also skilled tutors. When this was no longer feasible, PCH Tutors was born out of need to grow into a larger operation and fill the educational gap that existed in these local communities. He strives to provide students with the very best tutors who will cater to each student's specific and unique learning style, speak their language, and work one-on-one with them to accomplish their goals. Our tutoring services includes K through 12 subjects, and when we say our tutoring services, we are exclusively talking about PCH Tutors. They select college-level courses in SAT, ACT, and ISEE standardized test preparation as well. So on that note, let's welcome Jake Adams to the Tutor Outreach Radio Show.
Hi, Dr. Alicia.
Hi, Jake. How are you?
How are you doing? Long time no see.
I know, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, it seems like we had a tutoring conference just last year, but it's been 2 years.
Yeah. It's been great. It's been awesome to see everything that you're doing growing. Thanks so much for that introduction, by the way.
All right. You're welcome. How's the weather in California?
California weather is pretty good right now. It's pretty sunny. We're coming up on the fall, so it's getting a little colder, but not that much colder.
All right. Well, we always ask each of our guests, why did you get into the tutoring industry?
For myself personally, I was originally a swim instructor, and that was like the better part of high school and early college. But then I realized that I, was pretty good with working with students and just had a natural knack for explaining things. And so then I figured, why not try out academic subjects? And this is in part because I had an accelerated course of study when I was younger. I started taking college classes about my 8th grade summer and did that at a UC Bridge program. And so I was kind of already familiar with a lot of the college content. and just had the free time, so to speak, because I didn't have so many courses to take in my regular academic studies at Pepperdine. So I figured I should, help others understand and, try out this ability to teach. And I fell in love with the work, and that's really why I've stayed with it for the last now 13 years. Yeah. I'm sure that's kind of the story for a lot of people. Just falling in love with the work is, part of what makes it something that is enduring and easy to work through. And yeah, that's just, part of my story. And the reason I got into it was just because I thought it would be interesting. And then I realized I really love helping students and kind of bringing everyone to that aha moment. For myself, I was mostly self-taught, and so I had a lot of the struggles that these students were facing, and I could, say like, oh, this is how I did this, or this is how I thought about this, and that sort of self-teaching aspect of my own education really, paid off in the way of like being able to help others understand things when I wasn't understanding something from an instructor.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And just by the way, Jake, that's why you're on the show. We only attract, it seems, people who are passionate about helping others, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah, definitely.
So which communities does your practice cater to regarding particular grade levels and subjects? Since this is LA we're talking about, which sides of town and really how do you manage to meet the needs of the people in California?
Yeah, so we work with the beach communities around about Malibu and the west side of Los Angeles. And in terms of meeting those needs, a lot of the time these customers, want to have in-home tutoring, and that is, a great way to work with students. But we've more recently expanded beyond just the local area by being able to do tutoring online. In terms of what we mainly service, we've worked from, K through college, assigning tutors in, any number of subjects. But the requests that we get mainly come from the seventh grade through senior year of high school. We do have some college and some younger students, but the bulk of our clientele comes in right about middle school and through high school. We mostly get math and science requests. That's just something that most people have a difficult time understanding, and there's more technical aspects to it that students really need the extra help outside of class with. So we mainly focus on those areas, though we do also help with APs like AP US history and other histories and English courses that are pretty rigorous, and you need some skills outside of just knowing the material in order to do well on these tests for like the AP or IB courses. In terms of like what we've done to expand, we were recently, we just recently started a second company, and that's actually its own thing. It's called Simplify EDU, and PCH Tutors has sort of been the testing ground for Simplify EDU, and we're just working on creating a sustainable online tutoring model that will work well for customers in terms of like getting the logistics planned out and figuring out how we're going to pair tutors and how we're going to run scheduling and everything. But the online tutoring business has really opened up our marketplace for us. We're probably, in the next year or two, going to be servicing most of California. I don't see why there's any reason there should be a geographic limitation to what we can do. But for now, our in-person work is restricted to Malibu, Calabasas, Pacific Palisades, Topanga, and Santa Monica, Brentwood, Westwood, and a lot of the surrounding cities in those areas.
Okay, that sounds great. So I like the fact that, you're not only just saying exclusively online tutoring, you're literally taking advantage of every type of tutoring modality to make sure that you are servicing your clients, and that's a beautiful thing. So in terms of online tutoring, which digital tools and techniques do you find to be the most effective when teaching others in that modality?
Well, to tell you a little bit about like kind of what I found, I have to tell you sort of the story of how I got started with online tutoring and what I found works and really doesn't work as well. The most basic, idea that most people go for within online tutoring is this idea of like having Skype or FaceTime or some other video call going, in combination with, everyone writing on their own piece of paper and kind of showing each other this piece of paper. And that really doesn't pan out as well. It's hard to see what's happening, and there's a lot of interruptions. And that's sort of where the technology and its limitations gets in the way of tutoring. And then, for myself, I tried that, and that didn't really work. So then I moved over to, and sort of this whole process was prompted actually by a call from, or not a call, but an email from a student who lived in Moscow, Russia. They were referred to us by a counselor from UCLA, and when we got the email, we're like, okay, is there someone trying to scam us here? But in truth, it was actually a student from Russia who wanted to use our services here, and they wanted to do it online. And so I had to sort of figure out how I can make this work. And so I eventually moved to this idea of using a screen share, Skype, not so much FaceTime. There is some applications there, but we use this idea of screen sharing, and then working through a screen share and saying, okay, I can see your screen, you can see mine, and that works. But then, as the weeks went by, I just wanted to keep improving on this idea. And so eventually I started, I had an iPad, so I thought, why not connect the iPad to the computer screen, mirror the screens, and then whatever I'm doing on my computer screen, I can, write on my iPad, because that's just a more natural way to input information. Because if anyone's, used a computer for online tutoring and just used a mouse and keyboard, trying to maneuver with the mouse is actually really difficult. But with the, iPad, that started to become a lot more natural, and I could, feel like, okay, I'm writing on this. They can see what I'm saying more rapidly. I'm not really slowing the lesson down as much to try and, use this new technology. So at that point, that was working well, but I wanted to keep going further. And so what I ended up doing was I found that online whiteboard apps that run natively they run on an app on either an iPad or an Android tablet. I found that was actually the key. Having this video call going, and the computer is holding the camera, and so you have this hands-free aspect. And so people can see each other and read body language, so when you've lost your student, or maybe they're not understanding something, and that sort of visual component is really important. But then separating the input and output aspect of tutoring to a tablet device. And so the student had an iPad as well, and so we went ahead and found an app on the iPads that would basically link the two in an online whiteboard where, whatever I wrote in real time was showing up on her iPad, and vice versa. And so it's something that you kind of have to see to really understand and marvel at, like, how awesome it is. But once I found that, there's a few different applications that will work through that. One of them is Explain Everything. That's, it's actually founded by an educator who, wanted to make presentations easier to understand. And it can actually be used in this format where you're linking these two iPads together, and you can bring in outside information. So a PDF of whatever document you're working on, if it's with test prep and you're having to look at the test, or if it's, homework help, having a student take a picture of whatever they have from their textbook, and then working with it right there on this online whiteboard. That was like game changing for me. So much to the point where now I know this is probably not, something that would work for every online tutor, but for ourselves, we've gone about issuing iPads to all of our online students. And so we issue an iPad to them, And then we have our tutors equipped with iPads as well. And that really has made the online experience probably, I would say, 95% the same as working in person. And if in some respects it's actually better because no one's like fighting over the piece of paper trying to see what the other person wrote. It's all, right in front of everyone. The only, real drawback is, is your Wi-Fi good? That's the main thing that, it has to be, something that you test. You would want to test your own Wi-Fi and have a student test theirs and see if you can find the right spot in the house to have these lessons and have the Wi-Fi be stable so everyone can hear what the other person is saying and actually see the technology working the way it's supposed to.
Thank you so much for sharing that. As I was listening to you, I had flashbacks of, going to a tutoring session and really realizing that we spent the entire session dealing with technical difficulties back in the day. But it sounds like you have found a way to where, you still will have technical difficulties, but it won't be as drastic as it was in the past.
Yeah. I actually went from one example was like I converted since we issue iPads for test prep, I converted one of my in-person test prep students to online, and I sent them the app to download. They already had a video call software that we could use, and it took about 5 minutes to go from an in-person tutoring student to someone who was willing to work online, and just like the seamlessness of what's possible now is pretty awesome.
All right. So how do you use the Socratic and dialectic teaching styles to help your clients?
So one of the things that, we stand by as a tutoring company is this idea that we should make learning a conversation. In terms of, the regular classroom, that's just not something that an instructor can practically do. They can't stop the lesson to talk to every student and hear their input and see how they see it. But within tutoring, that's what's special about it is you can make learning this conversation. And, the Socratic and dialectic teaching styles, that's, just basically, a fancy way of saying we lead, our students to a point of understanding through, the thoughtful asking of questions and, asking them, okay, if you know this about A, what can we assume about B? And just getting them to engage and show us where they're at with their understanding of the material. If they, are hesitant or, worried that, whatever they say isn't going to be the right thing, that's something that we try to work on and say like, okay, just guess. Just tell me what you think might be the answer, just to sort of map where they're at, but then also get them to the point where they understand that learning is actually, it's not about finding the right answer the first time. It's about this process of, inquiry and being creative and thinking about how do I, get from point A to point B and do it creatively and in my own way. And, the right answer isn't the point. The process of learning and thinking is the point. And so for us, what we do is, we ask these questions and we're saying to a student, okay, how do you think about this? Oh, okay, you think about it this way. Well, let me give you some of my own insight and maybe think about it this way, and then, lead them to this point of understanding where they're actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of coming to, a conclusion on their own rather than just talking at someone. I think that's the, biggest problem within education is that there is not enough time to engage in this conversation. A lot of times people are just talking at you. And even within tutoring, if you have a tutor that just talks at you and tells you, here's all the information you need to know, now take notes, that I feel, recreates a lot of the same problems that are happening in the classroom because there's just not enough time to practically have those conversations. I feel like, within that format, learning really comes alive and you see students relate ideas to what they're familiar with and say like, okay, oh, this is just like, soccer, or this is just like, this sport that I play, or, they understand a lot of things through metaphor and make it personal to themselves. And so I feel like that's where, you see learning really come alive is when students can engage in a conversation and the instructor is just there to lead them and help them think about the problem in a way that they understand and, continuing to add bit by bit to that knowledge base they already have. So that way they can make it to, the conclusion that they're looking for.
Okay, so I know this may be a question that is a given, but how do you know that your customized lessons are working for your clients? I mean, I can see the smile on their face right now, but how do you know?
Yeah, generally what we try to do is we try to actually have students teach the concepts that we've worked with them on back to us. Going through the core concepts and asking them, okay, so how does this work? Teach it as if, your friend who's just passing you in the hallway, there's going to be a quiz, teach it to them in a quick way, so that they can understand for this upcoming quiz or something. We sort of move into this position of, okay, now you have to teach the concept back to us after we've already done the work to, make sure that they understand it. And, where they're not able to explain something back, then we'll sort of work on those areas and go back and talk a little bit more about them or make notes to address that in our next lesson. But in general, this idea of like having a student teach the concept back to you in their own words not only cements the learning for themselves if they've already understood it, but also shows you that, okay, this is what they understand and this is how they understand it. For us, we can also look at their grades in general. That's what everyone's looking for from the parent side, at least. But, if we are able to teach them the information that they need and have them have an understanding to the point where they can actually teach some of it back to us, that's what says to us that we've done our job. And also it's the main goal. The better grades or the improved understanding of things is sort of an after effect for us. We want students to learn how to think about problems and to learn that there is, a struggle that's necessary in learning new things and becoming comfortable with that struggle and having them just sort of show us what they've learned and encourage them and show them that, okay, you've made it this far and that's awesome. So that's something that we do to check on the work that we do.
Okay. So what advice would you offer other colleagues who would be interested in partnering with other businesses in the community?
I would say that one of the key elements of making a business relationship work in the community is being willing to share what you know and helping the other business grow. One of the things that we've done is we've sort of partnered with a lot of college counselors who don't have test prep or academic tutoring services that they already offer. And so this sort of, starting point of working on relationships that are going to complement the services of another business, that's where I really see a lot of the, networking and business growth coming from is, working with someone who is not necessarily competitive with you, but working alongside you and, you're both working towards the same goal. And so for ourselves, we've kind of gone through and, checked out different college counseling services or different test prep services that don't offer academic tutoring. Those test prep services are actually, in some ways are competition, but just by reaching out and saying like, hey, you guys don't offer this service and we don't want to step on your toes, but these, we're not going to try and market to that area or we'll sign a non-compete, so to speak. But in the academic area where you're not servicing, that's something that your clients probably need, and we're willing to, step in and to work with you on that. And so this point of, developing relationships where you trust the other person, you share with them, and you're doing something to, benefit their clientele. I think that's really the starting point for growing a business. In terms of, working with other, local businesses, there's a lot of opportunity there because it depends. Maybe you are the one who's learning, or maybe you're the one who's teaching someone else. But I think, something that we're gifted with as tutors is like we have this really nice ability to explain things or work with people on sharing the knowledge that we have, and that's just sort of a passion that we have. And so a lot of what I do is, a couple times, every quarter or every 2 quarters, I'm connecting with the local businesses that we've partnered with, and I'm sharing what I'm learning about, marketing, telling them like, hey, okay, there's, things like Nextdoor, or you can, post on Thumbtack, or you can post on these different marketplaces that we've discovered. This is how our Google AdWords campaign is working. And, sharing those insights with other businesses, not only is that something that I think a lot of business owners don't really, know as much as they need to know about, but it's something that they're not necessarily going to go out and say like they need. But if you come up and decide that you want to be friendly with them and you want to share those insights that you've had, and you can share like something that's going to help both of you grow together, I think that really does start a solid foundation for any business relationship that you have. And just bringing something to the table to give and to share, rather than looking for something to take from this experience or to take from the relationship. Obviously, there is that need for, there to be, some upside to whatever you're doing, but that starting from the place of wanting to share what you know and, give freely, I think that is one of the best things you can do to sort of work on forming partnerships with other businesses and looking for opportunities in your community to help the businesses around you.
Wow, Jake, you have said a mouthful. This is something that, sometimes when tutors enter the industry, you know how it is as a private tutor, starting out as a private tutor, you have that competitive mindset. But as you continue to grow and, you're really wanting to move forward and have a greater impact, at some point your mental model and mindset has to change. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Is there anything else you would like to share with us about what you're doing to help others? Do you have any upcoming workshops, any upcoming books, webinars, speaking engagements? Tell us what's going on, Jake.
So right now we are, we're working to grow our online business, and a lot of what we're doing has come off in the way of webinars. I don't know. You can check out what we're doing on our social media handles. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handles at PCH Tutors. We share a lot of interesting content on education, youth activisms, and also we share the stories of some of the amazing tutors we have. A lot of the individuals that we've been able to work with just have, amazing backstories, and we, share that with a lot of our community just to, make it a place where you can trust the people that you're working with. But also, we've started to do like local farmers markets. We have informational booths there. So if you want to catch us in person right now, we are going to be once a month at the Brentwood Farmers Market in West LA and the Pacific Palisades Farmers Market. We'll have informational booths there once a month. In terms of what we're working on or have, upcoming speaking engagements, we haven't had really anything on the calendar yet. We did have a really cool segment, if anyone wanted to check that out. We were featured on CBS 2 News, This is LA. They just sort of did a special on us and, why, we are one of the better tutoring agencies over in West Los Angeles. But other than that, I don't think that we have anything else on the calendar.
Okay, Jay. It's been a pleasure having you on the Tutor Outreach Radio Show, and it's an honor, and I'm deeply humbled and grateful to have met you at one of our international tutoring and teaching conferences. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I will share some messages from the Spirit and Angels. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Learn the secrets to awaken your own financial genius. Mark Jackson II has written an Amazon International bestseller, Read Me, or stay broke. This gripping story does the impossible marvelously. This book entertains and educates the reader. The book transforms the reader with an emotional journey filled with dynamic financial discoveries. In an effort to pay his dying mother's medical bills, Josh has burned the candle at both ends for far too long. In a last-ditch effort to stay afloat, he works even harder while his boss is breathing down his neck. Exhausted and desperate, Josh comes to a simple realization. He is broke and out of options. Until one day, a mysterious woman offers him a challenge. Her company offers him the chance to learn the powerful money secrets of the rich secrets that have built fortunes for centuries but were always hidden from the public. But there's a catch. If Josh can complete the challenge, his mother's bills will be paid in full. Fail, and she will die in death. In his darkest moment, Josh agrees to the challenge. You will learn side by side with Josh as he is exposed to the 7 mentors: savings, debt, credit, taxes, business, stocks, and real estate investing. The 7 keys to wealth building. To save his mother's life, all he needs to do is listen, learn, and apply the secrets from each lesson. Will he be able to learn all the secrets in time? Can he complete the challenge in time to save his mother? This powerful story will keep you on the edge of your seat. You can get your copy on Amazon.com. Do you want to stay connected to Mark Jackson II? You can find him on Facebook under Mark Sweeney Jackson or www.facebook.com/Mark Jackson 2. And read me or stay broke at www.facebook.com/readme or stay broke. Mark 2 is also on Instagram under Marks Jackson 2 and read me or stay broke. Lastly, you can find him on Twitter under @MarkJackson2. What is intellectual property? It's something that you will have to protect when it comes to your learning organization. Innovation and creativity is definitely valued amongst humanity and should be protected. As a result, tutors need a blueprint to follow so that they will do exactly what needs to be done to protect their work and trade secrets for their learning organization. In the #1 source for tutors and tutor business owners, Dr. Holland's Expanding Your Tutoring Business Series. Tutor Consultant, Dr. Holland delivers her field-tested advice so that you can determine what types of intellectual property that will need to be protected, create various types of work agreements for your learning organization, develop a system to maintain records of your intellectual property, build a business plan that will promote data-driven tutoring success, describe the federal laws that impact your tutoring business, implement quality assurance meetings, create an online project management system for your content team, implementing focus groups and market research, disseminating your research for your learning organization, acquire know-how for licensing your intellectual property, and dozens of other strategies you will need to protect your intellectual property. Take a strategic approach to protecting your intellectual property so that you can build a household name in the tutoring industry. You can get your copy of Expand Your Tutoring Business Volume 3, The Blueprint for Protecting Your Learning Organization, on Amazon.com, or submit your book order at orders@iglobaleducation.com.
We're back on the Tutor Outreach Radio Show with Dr. Elise. While we were on break, I intuitively selected some postcards from the Spirit using the Colette Baron Reed system, and I also got some intuitive messages in from the Spirit. So let me share them with you. Dearest you, going the extra mile to achieve your dreams and putting in some overtime will reap big rewards. Now is the time for you to act, to stir up some energy and put these plans into action. There are many windows of opportunity that open but close quickly when you don't take the risk and go for it. Today, be confident that your hard work will pay off and you will feel that satisfaction and fulfillment of reaching your desired outcome. It might turn out even better than you expected. Isn't that amazing? Remember, However much work you're willing to put in, we will match it tenfold on our end. Everyone over here is rooting for you to win that game of life. So just do it. Loving you so much. Guys, when I read that message, an intuitive message that came in and a number that came in was the number 7. The number 7 deals with personal growth. So, when I see this, anytime I'm in a meditation, it just lets me know that there are some things that many of you may need to work on to expand how you're thinking about a particular situation, or how you're thinking about a particular way to expand your tutoring business or whatever business you may have. But the personal growth aspect is something that comes from within, guys. And if you are looking to serve humanity, you're coming from the classroom, or you're making that leap from private tutor to tutor business owner on a larger scale, you have to go through some type of personal growth or spiritual transformation, so to speak, because it's no longer about you and your talent. It's about you serving humanity with groups of people. It's much bigger than yourself. So that's what I got when I saw that particular message. The second message that came in is, dearest you, over here there is no mystery for us to unravel, as we know intimately how connected we all are, how the web of creation works, and how spirit is in every aspect of life, from the invisible to the visible, but it's impossible for humans to comprehend the complexities of how things actually work, because the most important threads in the tapestry don't make sense in the dimension you live in. That said, can you feel the importance of these currents of energy that bring events together in miraculous ways? You can't understand with your mind, but you can know with your heart and soul. Trust that even though you don't know the how, the what, or the why, we do surrender to the mystery and have faith that the unseen world is watching you with loving eyes as spirit weaves your lives mysterious and beautiful tapestry in glorious technicolor. Loving you so much as always. So the message that came through there was about self-love, and the number 61 showed up. So, guys, the personal love, the personal growth, and the self-love, it works together. You owe it to yourself to really look deep within and find out who you are and why you're here. Every person on this planet is a leader. People are watching you, whether it's in business, your own life, whatever it may be. You owe it to yourself to pull back that personal curtain and figure out where you need to grow more, where you need to show more love. Because you can't serve humanity if you have not taken care of yourself first. We're not talking about a selfish type of strategy here. We're talking about selfless things. We're talking about self-care. You have to learn how to serve from a flow of abundance. That's what your journey is about. That's what the personal growth is about. And I have faith and confidence that, whatever it is that you're trying to navigate, you will do it. Just stay in faith, connect to your intuition, and remain humble, guys. Humble yourselves and know that nobody is perfect. We're in this together. We're here to serve, and that's what we're about. All right, so I want to share with you guys that we are still accepting guests for our 2020 Canadian Tutoring and Teaching Symposium that will be held in Canada. And then we also have 2020 Tutoring Mastermind in Canada as well. So go to our website and check that information out at www.thetutoroutreach.com. And you can definitely find us on Facebook as well and see what we have going on there. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Tutor Outreach Radio Show. I had a wonderful time with our special guest, Jake Adams, and we learned a great deal about what's going on with online tutoring in parts of California. Please join me every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next time. Remember, you are loved, you are valued, and you are competent.
You've been listening to the Tutor Outreach Radio Show, hosted by Dr. Alice Holland. This hit show comes to you live every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. Each show is empowering you to move forward with your tutoring goals to manifest your dreams of building a successful tutoring practice. If you've missed any part of this show or want to find out more about Dr. Holland, visit thetutorouttreach.com. That's thetutorouttreach.com.